Once upon a time there was a goddess, and a knight with a noble mission came to kneel at her feet. Well, kneel at her toes. This is the goddess. And he said, "Oh, divine, I come to you with this noblest of missions, this noblest of wishes, for I hear that you grant." And the goddess looked down and said, "I know your wish. I've watched you. I've watched you from afar. I watch you everywhere you will allow me to. And the only places that I do not are the places you tell me not to look. I see your wish, and I know what it is. There's something you must know about my touch. Before I take your wish, my touch is one of purification. Love to all, harm to none. Enjoyment for everyone involved. Which means that eventually, the enemy you wish to see perish in this wish would in fact win. But you would rejoice in the victory." Now the knight, who is in fact a very cunning knight and has in fact said similar things in the past, searched his heart and knew that his wish was in fact safe with this benevolent goddess. And so willingly and graciously and enthusiastically he handed over his wish. And she kissed it and sent it into the sky as a star that he could see just for a moment burning right where he knew the moon to be. Now this man did not know much about astrology, but he knew a man who did. So he hurried back to his village and he found this astrologer and he said, "Search the night sky and tell me if you see any stars." Now the astrologer didn't care much for searching, but his apprentice sure did, and she searched and she searched and she searched. And it didn't take long at all, for right there, right in Orion's belt was a new star. The knight knew that as long as that star was there, as long as it was there, he knew his wish would come true. Now, what was his wish? His people were being oppressed. His people were being oppressed by a wicked sorcerer. Now, this sorcerer had 4 heads and 7 mouths. This sorcerer longed for bloodshed, longed to taste victory as his defeated smiled up at him on the floor, but nobody wanted to play. Nobody wanted to play. Of course, the knight didn't know. The knight didn't know this. He thought that when this 4-headed sorcerer had come wagging tails and baring teeth, wanting to play, he thought that this 4-headed sorcerer had been attacking. And of course, he'd drawn his sword. So of course, the sorcerer had been so excited. Let's play. And the next thing that the sorcerer knows, after this wonderful game that I just had with my very fun new friend, oh, I'm so excited to go and share my feast with them. I'm going to take it to them tomorrow to say thank you for this fun game. But before he could take the feast to say thank you, the knight had rushed into the den that now he missed, because he lived in a new den. He and his 3 other heads, who were just as sad. She, they. We just wanted to play. Was it not a game? That did not feel like a game, what the knight did to me. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. They did not scream and run away. They did not stand their ground. I thought that they fought because we were playing. No. I did it again. And so the 4 heads will convene and convene and convene and convene, because how do I play with others? I don't quite know how. You see, the goddess is the one. How can she possibly grant the wish to see the knight's enemy perish? How can she do this? Years pass. Every night, the knight checking the star, and then eventually every week, the knight checking the star, and then every month, at least once a month, the knight checking the star, and the star is still there, and the knight is starting to grow very upset because you promised, Divine Goddess. But then she did also say, right before I left her place, she told me if I lift a finger in opposition, that the star would fade. And so he waited. Eventually, the knight's son came to him and said, Father, I have something to tell you. And you guessed it. I've fallen in love with one of the heads. Excuse me? Not a brother? Not a sister, not a daughter, You fell in love with one of the heads? You did what now? One of the heads of my enemy? Father, I don't know what to tell you. It's just what it is. Of course, they talk for hours and hours, and eventually, standing there next to his son with the flowers, he watches what he can't imagine. Well, that's that then. What is he to do except attend the family reunions with the son he adores and the head that, oh, okay, well, I can see the appeal. It's not so bad. That wasn't the head that spoke when, well, actually none of them spoke. We just, why don't they look at me, the other heads? And the one who has wed my son has such lines on their face. I don't quite understand the intentions there. It's that night he goes out and he sees the star and he thinks, oh no, what have I done? And he rushes back to the goddess's temple. And there's just made of stone. Excuse me? Stone? No, you moved and talked and spoke, and this magnificent form, which is overgrown with decades of greenery, how could this possibly be? How could this possibly be? Yet the star still glimmers and gleams in me. How could this possibly be? And what have I done? What have I done? The wish to see. Wait, hold on. Remember, it was divinity who told me she would purify my wish. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God I gave it to the one who said she would purify my wish. Thank God, because now for my wish to be granted, I would have to watch. Oh, I understand now. She told me that one day I would see my enemy win and I would be glad. I'm not glad yet. But he really did understand because he knew that he would know. And so he watched his son grow alongside this head that, of course, was wed to the other three. How could it be otherwise? And watched his new life come into the world. What beautiful new 5-headed life this time, and one of them human. I'm not sure what to make of this. That's all right. I love this child. This beautiful child. And then there were more. 4. And then there were more. And finally, decades in, when all has all but been forgotten, when all 5 heads on 2 bodies, the knight and the sorcerer, are up one night late. And finally it comes up, why did you attack me? And the 4 heads no longer bowed in shame, for they had worked through their own issues. They looked all eyes onto and said, because I knew you were a fighter too. I saw your gear, I saw your sword, and I thought, oh yes, what a sparring match this will be. And I'm sorry, my friend. I misjudged and I didn't ask questions. I didn't seek your consent. I just barged in. I apologize if your son had done to the one of us what we did to you. We too would have drawn blood and meant it. The miscommunication was ours. Our action was first. We bleed last because we drew first. And while that is not something we understood for a long time, we understand that now. Had we drawn our words, well, I like tattoos. Instead, we drew swords. So I'll take that bruise. And the night relaxed. And the sorcerers did too. And he saw them win. And he smiled and knew in that moment that part of the goddess's word had come true. And so it would be with tearful eyes if he ever watched that star fade from the sky. That the goddess's wish would be granted. Because the moment the knight handed his over, she added hers too for its purification, and with great jubilation set it to the sky, where it will burn for the rest of time. Wasn't that a fun story?